Everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something pretty cool today. Reverse memories. It's this idea from, manifestation expert Tamara Tally. And it's all about like reframing our past. It's kind of changing those deep down beliefs we've got, those things that just kind of run on autopilot in our minds and we don't even realize they're there half the time. And then using that like a springboard to like shape a better future. And Tamara, she's got some pretty amazing stories from her own life about how this stuff actually works. We'll get into those in a bit, though.
You know what I find really interesting is that she doesn't frame this as like all mystical or anything. She connects it to solid psychology, even stuff from NLP.
Right, Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's break it down. What exactly are reverse memories? It's like instead of letting our past just dictate like who we are and what we can do, we can actually like rewrite the story. We go back, we revisit old memories, see what we believed back then, and then we get to choose. We can reframe those beliefs. It's not about denying what happened, but turning it into something that helps us, that empowers us,
So this all ties into how our subconscious works, right? Our past experiences, they shape these beliefs that kind of run in the background. Often they're holding us back without us even knowing it.
Totally.
Think about those times when you feel stuck at work, in relationships, even with money. Tamara's point is those feelings, often they come from these like unexamined beliefs rooted way back in our past.
And she's got some super interesting examples in her report. Like, how some people say money doesn't grow on trees? If you hear that enough as a kid, it can totally lead to financial anxiety as an adult, even if you're doing well. Or like, imagine you were humiliated in front of everyone as a child. Later on, that might make you super afraid to take risks at work, even if it means you're missing out on opportunities.
It's like our past experiences, they kind of create this filter that we see the world through. Reverse memories is about cleaning that filter, So we can actually see things more clearly and build the kind of life, the kind of reality that we truly want.
Now I know what you might be thinking. Can we really change the past? And surprisingly, according to Tamara, the answer is yes. But it's not about literally changing events. It's about changing how we see those events and the beliefs we formed because of them.
This is where it gets really cool. Tamara uses principles of NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It's like showing how we can reprogram our subconscious minds. She talks about anchoring, reframing, even changing the submodalities of our memories, kind of like adjusting the volume and brightness controls on a memory, so we can lessen the negative impact and actually replace it with something more positive.
Okay, so to clarify those NLP techniques a bit, anchoring is basically linking a good feeling to something specific, like a word, a gesture, a mental picture. So you can intentionally link positive emotions to those tougher memories. It helps shift your whole perspective.
And then there's reframing, which we touched on earlier. It's all about changing how we interpret a memory. You're not denying it happened, but you're seeing it through a new lens. So instead of seeing a past failure as proof that you're not good enough, you can see it as a learning experience that led you to where you are now.
And submodalities. Those are the tiny details of how we experience memories in our minds. The sights, sounds, feelings, even smells. And NLP suggests that by changing these details, we can actually lessen the emotional intensity, like making the image of a negative memory smaller or dimmer.
Yeah, like turning down the volume on that painful memory. It lets you detach from the bad feelings, and then you can make space for a new, more empowering way of seeing it.
And this isn't just some new age thing, it's grounded in science. The idea that memory is reconstructive, meaning it's not a fixed recording, it's something we actively piece together each time we remember it, that's well established in cognitive psychology.
Right, which means our memories are actually flexible. We can change how we perceive past events by introducing new perspectives, new interpretations. That's the real power of reverse memories.
So before we dive into the step-by-step of Tamara's method, let's talk about her own experiences with this stuff. She shares these really inspiring stories about how she used reverse memories to overcome some big challenges and create a much more fulfilling life. One that really hit home for me was about this feeling she had of always being behind, like never having enough time. Turns out this actually stemmed from a high school memory where she felt like she wasn't living up to everyone's expectations.
Oh, I remember that story. She was juggling so much, typical high achiever. But instead of focusing on all the effort she was putting in, her resilience, she fixated on a few criticisms and let that define her self-worth. It's kind of crazy how these seemingly small moments from our past can have such a huge impact on us, even years later.
And she used reverse memories to reframe that whole experience. She
Nice.
realized that, hey, she was doing her best at the time, and she had friends who really admired her drive. And by changing her perspective on that memory, she actually let go of that belief that she was always behind. And she ended up creating a much more relaxed and calm approach to her daily life.
That's a powerful reminder that we always have a choice in how we interpret our past. Sometimes just choosing to see things differently can unlock a whole new level of peace and possibility.
Totally. And speaking of possibilities, she also shared a story about her struggles with financial anxiety. She traced it all the way back to childhood memories of her parents arguing about money. Hearing those arguments constantly made her believe that money was always scarce, always stressful. So even as an adult, when she was doing well financially, that underlying belief, it just stuck around, causing all this unnecessary anxiety.
But through reverse memories, she realized that even during those tough times, her family always had enough. The arguments were more about her parents' communication style than an actual lack of resources.
And by reframing those memories, she shifted her whole financial mindset. And get this, as her beliefs about money changed, her financial reality actually started to reflect that shift. She found the courage to leave her super stressful sales job and launch her own successful business.
It just shows how our external reality often mirrors our internal world, doesn't it? When we change our beliefs, we often change our circumstances too.
All right, so now that we've laid the groundwork, let's dive into the core of Tamara's method. The 10 steps to practicing reverse memories. Ready for this?
Absolutely. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we can start applying these principles to our own lives.
Exactly. So step 1 is all about clarity. Tamara calls it pinpoint what you want to transform. It's about choosing one specific area of your life that you want to improve: finances, relationships, health, confidence, career, whatever feels most important to you right now.
And it's not enough to just say, I want to be rich or I want to be happy. You got to get specific about what success in that area actually looks like for you.
Or like,
No?
imagine it vividly.
Mm.
If it's finances, do you want to feel secure and abundant, debt-free, free to travel the world?
The more specific you are, the more powerful this whole process becomes. Think of it like setting a destination on your GPS. You got to know where you're going before you can map out the route.
Okay, step 2 is about uncovering those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back. Tamara calls this identify the stuck beliefs and patterns, and she suggests doing a brain dump.
Just grab a pen and paper, jot down any negative thought or belief that comes up when you think about that area you want to transform. Don't censor yourself, just let it flow.
Maybe you think you're not smart enough, that you always mess things up, that you don't deserve success. Whatever it is, write it down. And as you're doing this, pay attention to how your body feels.
Our bodies often give us clues about where these beliefs are coming from. You might feel tension in your chest, a knot in your stomach, even a change in your breathing. These physical sensations can act as, like signposts, pointing you towards the memories that need to be reframed.
Step 3 is where the real digging begins. Tamara calls this dig for origin memories. The idea is to gently explore your past, uncover those specific experiences that might have shaped those limiting beliefs.
Find a quiet spot where you can relax. Maybe try a short meditation to clear your mind. Then gently ask yourself, when have I felt this way before? What experiences might have contributed to this feeling?
Don't force it. Just allow those memories to surface naturally. Have your journal handy and jot down any events that come to mind, no matter how big or small. You might be surprised what comes up.
Like we're detectives, tracing these limiting beliefs back to their source. Remember, we're not blaming anyone or dwelling on the past. We're seeking understanding so we can move forward with more clarity and freedom.
Now, step 4 is about revisiting those memories without judgment. Tamara calls this experience the memory without judgment. Imagine you're watching a film of that experience in your mind.
Pay attention to the details. What do you see, hear, feel? What are the specific words being spoken? Notice your emotional state as you're reliving the experience. But try not to get swept away by those emotions.
If you start feeling overwhelmed, use those NLP submodalities we talked about. Try making the image smaller, dimmer, or turning down the volume on any harsh sounds. It can help you detach from the negative emotions and just view the memory objectively.
We're not trying to re-traumatize ourselves. We're simply observing the experience with curiosity, compassion, just trying to understand how it might have shaped our beliefs.
And that leads us to step 5, where the real magic of reverse memories happens. This is where we get to rewrite the narrative. Tamara calls this reframe the emotional narrative.
So instead of seeing the memory through this lens of negativity or victimhood, Ask yourself, what else could this experience mean? Was there any strength or resilience I showed? Did I learn any valuable lessons?
Maybe that challenging experience taught you resourcefulness, how to stand up for yourself, or to have more empathy. Maybe it helped you develop a skill that you now really value.
It's about finding the silver lining. We always have a choice in how we interpret our experiences.
Once you've found that new perspective, it's time to anchor it. That's step 6. Anchor the new perspective.
Right.
And here's where we use NLP to make this new interpretation really stick.
Choose a positive trigger that you can easily associate with that new empowering feeling. It could be a word, a physical gesture, a mental image that evokes strength, confidence, or peace.
Practice associating that trigger with the positive emotions you want to feel whenever you think about that memory. You can even imagine yourself in that past experience, but this time, embodying those new, powerful qualities.
Imagine yourself standing tall, speaking your truth, handling the situation with grace and resilience. The more vividly you visualize this, the stronger that anger becomes.
And that brings us to step 7, where we start projecting this new outlook into the future.
Exactly. This step is called project, this new outlook forward. We're taking that reframed memory and using it as a springboard to create a new reality.
Think about situations in your life now where those old fears or limiting beliefs might still be holding you back. Maybe in your relationships, career, finances, any area where you feel stuck. Now imagine approaching those situations with your new, empowered mindset. How would you act differently? What would you say? What actions would you take?
Visualize yourself handling those challenges with confidence, grace, and clarity. The more you practice this mental rehearsal, the more likely you are to actually embody those qualities in real life.
And that leads to step 8, which is all about taking action to support this transformation. Tamara calls this, support your transformation with action and resources. It's about moving beyond the mental exercises and bringing this new perspective into your everyday life. One simple but really powerful thing you can do is establish daily rituals that reinforce your new beliefs. This could be as simple as spending a few minutes each morning reflecting on the reframed memories and affirming the qualities you want to embody.
You can also use external tools to support your journey. Tamara mentions a few, like guided visualizations, subconscious reprogramming tracks, and even physical anchors in your environment.
Guided visualizations are great for walking yourself through the reverse memories process, especially if you find it hard to stay focused. There are tons of great resources online or through meditation apps.
Subconscious reprogramming tracks use techniques like binaural beats or affirmations to put these positive messages directly into your subconscious mind. You can listen to those while you sleep or even during your daily activities.
Like giving your subconscious a little boost of positivity.
Exactly. And don't forget about physical anchors. Those are objects that remind you of your new beliefs, your new intentions.
It could be a bracelet you wear, a quote on your mirror, a special crystal you keep on your desk. These create constant reminders that keep you focused on your desired transformation.
And it's important to remember that transformation isn't just about mental exercises, right? It's also about taking care of your physical well-being. Tamara emphasizes lifestyle choices that support mental clarity.
Totally. This includes staying hydrated, eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, and moving your body regularly. All of these things affect your mood, your energy levels, your ability to focus on personal growth.
And, I think what's important here is that we're talking about a holistic approach. It's not just about changing our thoughts. It's about aligning our actions and our environment with those new beliefs.
You're absolutely right. It's about creating a whole ecosystem that supports lasting change. So we've covered the first 8 steps of Tamara's reverse memories method. What stands out to you so far?
I think what's most fascinating is how she weaves together these really practical techniques with profound psychological insights. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about understanding how our minds actually work and using that knowledge to deliberately create the reality we want.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also super encouraging to see how Tamara used these techniques in her own life to overcome real challenges and create tangible results. It makes me feel like this isn't just some abstract concept, but something that can truly make a difference.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to see how the remaining steps address those more nuanced aspects of personal transformation. Like, how do we maintain momentum and how do we deal with setbacks?
Me too. Let's dive into those final 2 steps and see what other gems of wisdom Tamara has to offer.
As we get into these last couple steps, it really hits me that we're not just talking about rewriting memories, but rewriting our whole internal narrative, those stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what we're capable of, you know?
That's such a good point. And speaking of narratives, step 9 is all about nurturing those new stories, really setting the stage for lasting change. What I found interesting here is that Tamara really emphasizes patience and self-compassion. It's so easy to get discouraged if you don't see those big immediate results. But like she points out, we're dealing with beliefs that have been ingrained for years, sometimes even decades. It takes time, consistent effort to really shift those deep-rooted patterns.
Right. It's not like flipping a switch or something. You mentioned the computer analogy before, and I think that's really fitting here. You can't just install new software and expect everything to magically work perfectly. The whole system needs time to adjust, integrate the new code in, start operating from those new instructions.
Totally. And just like with a computer, there might be glitches, setbacks along the way. We might find ourselves slipping back into those old ways of thinking, those old behaviors. But that's okay. It's all part of the process.
Absolutely. It's about progress, not perfection, right? What matters is that we recognize those moments, acknowledge them without judgment, and then gently guide ourselves back on track. We're learning a new way of being, and that just takes practice.
And Tamara also talks about the importance of community and mentorship in this whole process. Surrounding yourself with those supportive people who understand what you're going through and encourage your journey. It can make such a huge difference.
I think that's key. It's so much easier to stay motivated, stay inspired, when you've got people cheering you on, holding space for your growth, whether it's friends, family, online communities. Finding your tribe and leaning on them for support can be incredibly powerful.
And finding a mentor, someone who's already walked this path, that can be invaluable. They can offer guidance, encouragement, accountability, help you stay focused and navigate any challenges that pop up. It's like having a seasoned guide on a challenging hike.
Exactly. Someone who's been there, knows the terrain, can help you avoid those potential pitfalls. And speaking of the path ahead, step 10 is all about keeping that momentum going. Tamara kind of paints this picture of what life can look like when you're consistently practicing reverse memories. She talks about experiencing greater emotional resilience. You know, those old triggers that used to send you spiraling, they start to lose their power over you.
It's almost like you're building up an immunity to negativity.
Right. And you start to see more possibilities. Those old limitations, the I can'ts and the I'm not good enoughs, they begin to fade away.
You find yourself dreaming bigger, setting bolder goals, taking more risks, because you actually believe in yourself, in your ability to succeed.
And as your inner world changes, guess what? Your outer world changes too. You might see improvements in your relationships, new opportunities popping up, or just this general sense of ease and flow in your life.
It's like aligning yourself with a more positive frequency, and then the universe responds in kind. Tamara calls it shifting your vibration to attract the things you desire.
But she also points out that this isn't about being overly optimistic or denying that challenges exist. Life will always have its ups and downs.
Of course.
But with reverse memories, you have the tools, the mindset, to navigate those challenges with grace, resilience, and this deep knowing that you have the power to create the life you want. And what's interesting is as you keep practicing this, it actually becomes more effortless. You develop this mental muscle that lets you quickly identify that negative self-talk, trace it back to its source, and reframe it.
So it becomes second nature, like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. You just do it automatically.
Exactly. And that's when the real transformation happens. When you're no longer weighed down by the past, you're free to create a future that's truly aligned with your potential.
You know, listening to you describe this, I'm thinking about how reverse memories could be applied to things like creative blocks or even fear of failure.
That's a great observation. I think you're right. If we can reframe those past experiences of creative setbacks or failures as valuable learning opportunities, it can free us up to take more risks, express ourselves more fully.
It's like giving ourselves permission to be imperfect, to experiment, try new things, without that fear of judgment or rejection hanging over us.
Exactly. And that kind of freedom is essential for any creative endeavor, right? Whether it's writing, painting, starting a business, anything that requires us to step outside our comfort zone.
And what about using reverse memories in relationships? Could it help us break free from those unhealthy patterns or attract more fulfilling connections?
I think it has huge potential there. If we can identify and reframe those past experiences that have shaped our beliefs about love, intimacy, connection, it can open us up to healthier, more fulfilling relationships.
So instead of repeating the same patterns from past relationships, we can consciously choose to create new, more empowering experiences based on those lessons we've learned.
Precisely. It's about taking ownership of our relationship patterns and recognizing that we have the power to change them.
It's pretty amazing to think that this one concept, reverse memories, can have such a wide-ranging impact on our lives.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Tamara also gives us some additional tips for enhancing the process and keeping that momentum going.
Oh, I'm really curious to hear about those. What kind of tools does she suggest?
One of her favorites is the Reverse Memories Journal.
A dedicated journal specifically for this, where you can track your progress and really dive deep into the process. That makes a lot of sense. It's like having this written record of your transformation, a tangible reminder of how far you've come.
Exactly. And for each memory you're working on, she suggests writing down the old belief, the new belief, and any actions you're taking to support that new belief.
This not only helps to cement those new neural pathways in your brain,
Mm.
but it also allows you to track your progress over time, which can be so motivating and inspiring.
She also suggests using guided visualizations, which we talked about before. Those can be super helpful for people who find it hard to stay focused on their own, or who just prefer a more structured approach.
And for those who are into a more high-tech approach, there are those subconscious reprogramming tracks.
Right. Those use things like binaural beats and affirmations to embed those positive messages directly into your subconscious. You can listen to them while you sleep, during meditation, even while you're just going about your day.
Like giving your subconscious mind a little extra boost of positivity throughout the day.
Exactly. And don't forget about the power of physical anchors. Those can be so helpful for creating a supportive environment that reinforces your new beliefs.
Totally. Whether it's a bracelet, a special object that holds meaning for you, these physical reminders can keep you connected to your intentions, help you stay focused on that transformation journey.
And one last thing that Tamara really emphasizes, taking care of your physical and emotional well-being. It's not just about changing our thoughts, it's about supporting our overall well-being.
Absolutely. Getting enough sleep, eating good food, moving our bodies, engaging in activities that bring us joy. All of these things contribute to a healthy and vibrant inner ecosystem, which is essential for creating lasting change.
It's about creating a holistic approach to transformation, where our thoughts, our actions, our environment, they all work together to support our growth.
So we've explored Tamara Tally's 10-step method, plus some bonus tips for enhancing the process. What are some of the key takeaways that you think our listeners should really keep in mind?
Well, I think one of the most important things is remembering that we're not defined by our past. We have the power to choose how we see our experiences and to use those experiences as fuel for creating a better future.
And that even though this process might take time, effort, it's so worth it. Because when we rewrite those old stories and embrace our true potential, the possibilities are truly limitless.
Couldn't agree more. It's about reclaiming our power and stepping into the role of conscious creators of our own lives.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to share something Tamara said that really resonated with me. She writes, "Your past is not set in stone. It's a collection of stories you've been telling yourself. With reverse memories, you get to rewrite those stories."
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that statement?
Yeah, it's like she's saying we have this incredible power, to shape our own reality just by shifting the stories we tell ourselves.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the true power of reverse memories comes in. It gives us the tools to take ownership of those stories, to look at the narratives that might be holding us back, and actually choose to rewrite them in a way that, empowers us,
Totally. So as we wrap up our deep dive today, we want to leave you with a question, something to think about. What story have you been telling yourself about your past?
Is it a story of limitation, a story about not being good enough, or always falling short?
Or is it a story of resilience, a story about strength, lessons learned, wisdom gained?
Because the truth is, we all have both kinds of stories within us. The key is to become aware of those stories that aren't serving us anymore, the ones that are keeping us stuck, preventing us from reaching our full potential,
Right.
And then with tools like reverse memories, we can start to rewrite those stories.
We can choose to focus on those experiences that have made us stronger, the challenges that have taught us valuable lessons, the moments that have shown us just how resilient we truly are.
And as we shift our focus, as we start telling ourselves a more empowering story, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibility.
Absolutely. So we encourage you to take some time, reflect on your own story. What narratives have been shaping your beliefs, your behaviors? Are they serving you? Or is it time for rewrite?
Because remember, your past doesn't define you. You have the power to choose how you see your experiences. and to use those experiences to create a future that aligns with your deepest desires, your highest potential.
It's been such a fascinating journey exploring verbose memories with you today. We hope this deep dive has sparked some new insights and inspired you to explore the power of reframing your past. Until next time, keep diving deep, and remember, the power to create your reality lies within you.